walked out of your classroom with Ria, the sound of students chattering and laughter filling the air, but none of it registered in your mind. Your thoughts were elsewhere. Van, what's up? You look so dull, Ria asked, glancing at you as the sunlight reflected off her vibrant smile. No, Ria, I'm fine, you mumbled, your voice giving away how convincing your words were. Really? Then why do you look like someone stole your favorite book? She teased, nudging you lightly. You hesitated for a moment before sighing. I'm nervous, that's all. Ria tilted her head and raised a brow. Nervous about what? You did well on the exam, didn't you? Yeah, I did, you admitted. Her face lit up with realization. Wait a second, oh my god, are you going to confess to Jungkook today? Your eyes darted to her wide and panicked. Shh, don't announce it to the whole college. Ria giggled, her hand over her mouth. Sorry, but seriously, you're finally going to tell him after all these months? You nodded, feeling your heart race just at the thought. Yes, Ria, I have been waiting for the right time, and now that exams are done, I have no excuses left. I'm going to tell him today, but I'm terrified. What if he doesn't feel the same way? Vine, listen to me. She stopped walking and held your shoulders firmly, forcing you to meet her gaze. I have seen the way he looks at you every time he drops you off. His eyes linger, like he doesn't want to leave. Trust me, he admires you. Just be brave and tell him how you feel. If it's meant to be, it will happen. Her words brought a flicker of hope to your chest. You really think so? She nodded with a reassuring smile. Absolutely. Whatever his answer is, at least you will know, no matter what ifs, just go for it. You took a deep breath, her confidence rubbing off on you. Okay, I'll do it, I'm ready. Ria beamed, giving you an encouraging pat on the back as the two of you walked out of the campus gates. A sleek black car pulled up in front of the college, its polished surface gleaming under the afternoon sun. The window rolled down smoothly, revealing Jungkook behind the wheel. His dark hair was slightly messy, and his rolled-up sleeves exposed the tattoos on his arm. He looked effortlessly handsome, but the slight crease on his brow showed. He removed the cigarette from his lips and flicked it into the nearby dustbin before his eyes landed on you. Why, get in, he said, his voice calm but commanding. Taking a deep breath, you walked to the car and got in, your heart pounding against your chest. Jungkook immediately grabbed a small bottle of perfume from the console and sprayed it in the air. He glanced at you briefly before tossing the bottle aside. You hate the smell of smoke, right? You nodded, a little surprised by his gesture. How did the exam go? He asked, popping a piece of gum into his mouth. I did well, you said softly, fidgeting with the strap of your bag. Good, he replied simply, focusing on the road as he started driving. The car ride was unusually quiet, the hum of the engine filling the silence between you. You stole a glance at him as he drove, his sharp jawline clenching slightly as if deep in thought. His hands gripped the steering wheel, the veins on his arms prominent. You're quiet today, he remarked, his eyes briefly flicking toward you before returning to the road. Just tired, you lied. I didn't press further, but the atmosphere between you felt heavier than usual. You knew it was because of what you were about to do. Every passing second brought you closer to the moment you would been dreading and anticipating for months. As you made a turn, you decided to test the waters. Jungkook, can I ask you something? Sure, he said, not taking his eyes off of the road. What do you think about relationships? He raised an eyebrow, glancing at you for a moment. Relationships? Why the sudden interest? You shrugged, pretending to look casual, just curious. Well, they're not my thing, he said, bluntly, his voice devoid of any emotion. Your heart sank at his response, but you pushed forward. Why not? Too complicated. People expect too much, and it never ends well, he explained, his tone indifferent. Oh, was all you managed to see. The confession, a heartbreaking moment. He pulled up in front of your house and parked the car. Turning to you, he noticed the conflicted expression on your face. Is something wrong? You hesitated, feeling your courage waver, but Ria's words echoed in your mind. You had to do this, no matter what. Jungkook, I have something to tell you. You began, your voice trembling. He leaned back slightly, his brows furrowing in confusion. What is it? You gripped the hem of your skirt tightly, your palms sweating. I like you. No, actually, I love you. You blurted out, your words stumbling over each other. I have felt this way for a long time and I couldn't keep it to myself anymore. The weight of his gaze was unbearable as he stared at you, his expression unreadable. When he finally said, his voice soft but firm, you're a sweet girl and you deserve someone who can give you what you want, but that's not me. I'm not the guy for you. Being a mafia leader, it's not easy for you to stay with me. What if I cannot protect you always, so forget about me? It felt like the ground had been pulled out from under you. You forced a smile even as your eyes stung with unshed tears. I understand, you whispered, quickly unbuckling your seatbelt. Thank you for being honest. A light tap on your shoulder pulled you back to the present. Wine, where did you go? Sam asked, his voice laced with concern. You blinked rapidly and turned to face him. He was focused on the road, but his furrowed brow told you he had been watching your silence for a while. What? You asked, a little flustered. You seemed far away, lost in thought, he said, stealing a quick glance at you. What's going on? You quickly shook your head, brushing off the question. It's nothing, I just got distracted. He didn't push further, though his lips pressed into a thin line. All right, but if something is bothering you, you can talk to me, you know. You gave him a weak smile. Thanks, Sam, but I'm fine, really. A confession resurfaces. The car settled into a comfortable silence for a few moments, the hum of the engine filling the void. You tried to focus on anything but the thoughts swirling in your mind, but it was hard. The weight of the past still lingered, no matter how much you tried to push it away. One, Sam's voice broke the silence again, softer this time. Can I ask you something? You looked at him, sensing the hesitation in his tone. Sure. What is it? He cleared his throat, his grip on the steering wheel tightening slightly. What do you think about what I told you before? Your stomach sank. You knew what he was referring to, his confession. He had told you he liked you a few days ago, catching you completely off guard. At the time, you had avoided giving him an answer, unsure of how to respond. Now there was no avoiding it. You hesitated, choosing your words carefully. Sam, I'm sorry, I don't have any plans for a relationship right now. He didn't respond immediately, but you could see his jaw tense slightly. I see, he said after a moment. Is that because of someone else? No, it's not like that, you said quickly, shaking your head. It's just, I want to focus on my career. I don't think it would be fair to you or to me to start something I can't fully commit to. Sam's expression softened, though his eyes remained on the road. I understand, Van. I really do. I just thought maybe I would take my chances. You felt a pang of guilt but forced yourself to stay firm. You deserve someone who can give you their whole heart, Sam. Someone who can match your energy and your kindness. I'm not that person. He glanced at you briefly, his lips curving into a small, sad smile. You are too kind. You know that even when you're rejecting someone, you do it in the nicest way possible. I'm not trying to be kind, you said honestly. I just don't want to hurt you more than I already have. His smile widened slightly, though it still carried a hint of sadness. You're not hurting me, Vine. I appreciate your honesty. It's better than giving me false hope. You nodded, relieved that he was taking it so well. Thank you, Sam, for understanding. Moving forward, the rest of the drive continued in silence, but it wasn't uncomfortable. If anything, it felt like a quiet understanding had passed between you. Sam was a good man, kind, patient, and understanding. You genuinely hoped he would find someone who could return his feelings wholeheartedly. But as you stared out the window, your thoughts drifted back to Jungkook. No matter how much time passed or how hard you tried, the memory of him still lingered. You wondered if it ever truly would go away. For now, though, you were determined to keep moving forward, even if it meant doing so alone. After a long day at work, you dragged yourself home utterly exhausted. As soon as you entered the living room, you saw your brother Taehyung sitting on the couch, his laptop balanced on his knees. He seemed engrossed in his work, typing away. Without a word, you walked over and plopped down beside him, resting your head in his lap and stretching your legs across the couch's armrest. Oppa, you mumbled tiredly, closing your eyes. Young immediately stopped typing, carefully placing his laptop on the nearby table. He leaned back, letting out a soft chuckle as his hands instinctively went to your hair. Gently stroking it, he asked, "Back to back patients again?" "Yeah," you sighed deeply. "Too many patients. I don't even know how I'm still standing." Tang smiled sympathetically, his fingers brushing through your hair soothingly. "You're working too hard, man. Take it easy sometimes." "I wish I could," you replied, letting out a tired groan. Taehyung reached over to the small drawer of the side table and pulled out a small bottle of hair massage oil. He poured some into his hands and began massaging your scalp gently. As soon as his fingers worked their magic, you let out a pleased hum. "Wow, Appa, your hands are magical. I feel so relaxed already." Taehyung grinned, his eyes soft as he continued the massage. "I have to take care of my little sister, don't I?" You smiled at his words. You and Taehyung had been through so much together. Losing your parents in a tragic accident when you were younger had left the two of you clinging to each other for support. Taehyung had stepped up, becoming not just a brother but also a parental figure. He never let you feel the weight of the loss, always making sure you felt loved and protected. And there was a Jungkook. As Taehyung's best friend, he had taken it upon himself to help care for the both of you. Though his world was dangerous and dark, he kept you and Taehyung away from it, ensuring you both lived normal lives or removed from the mafia world. As Taehyung continued to massage your hair, he spoke his tone casual. "By the way, Van, I'm leaving tonight for a business trip." Your eyes shot open and you lifted your head slightly to look at him. "Another business trip?" you asked, a frown forming on your face. He nodded, his expression calm. "Yeah, it's unavoidable, but don't worry. Jungkook will be staying here with you until I come back." Your head shot up entirely and you sat up straight, staring at him in disbelief. "What? Jungkook? No way. I don't need anyone to stay with me. I can manage just fine on my own." Taehyung raised an eyebrow, his voice firm but gentle. "One, I'm not agreeing to this. You know I trust you, but recently there have been too many crimes reported in this area. It's not safe for you to stay alone." You groaned, leaning back against the couch dramatically. "But Appa, it's Jungkook. I don't need him watching over me. I'm not a kid." Taehyung's gaze softened, but his tone remained unyielding. "I know you're not a kid, Wan, but this isn't up for discussion. Jungkook will be here tonight, and that's final." You winced, knowing there was no point in arguing. Once Taehyung made up his mind, there was no changing it, and worse, you knew Jungkook would never back down either. Sighing heavily, you muttered, "Fine, but don't blame me if I lock myself in my room the entire time." Taehyung chuckled, ruffling your hair playfully. You can do whatever you want as long as you stay safe. That's all I care about. You crossed your arms, parting. You are so protective. And I will always be, he replied with a warm smile. Now go freshen up while I pack dinner. Dinner will be ready soon. With a resigned sigh, he got up from the couch, dragging your feet as you walked toward your room. As much as you appreciated Taehyung's care, the thought of spending days alone with Jungkook made your stomach churn. You weren't sure if you were ready to face him again, not after everything that had happened. After Taehyung left for the airport, you were ready to end the exhausting day. You slipped into your comfortable pajamas, tied your hair into a messy bun, and you were just about to climb into bed when the doorbell rang. A sigh escaped your lips as you dragged yourself to the door, mentally preparing for who might be on the other side. The moment you opened it, your suspicion was confirmed. There stood Jungkook, tall and imposing, his dark eyes fixed on you. He gave you a small smile. "Hello, Wine," he told. He raised your hand, cutting him off mid-sentence. "He told me you said your tone cold and distant. Please come inside." Jungkook's smile faded slightly, replaced by a faint frown as he stepped into the house. His eyes briefly scanned your face, but you avoided his gaze, keeping your expression blank. You gestured toward the living room. "I have arranged your bed here downstairs," you said flatly. "If you need anything, please don't disturb me. I'm tired." Before Jungkook could respond, you turned on your heel, heading toward the stairs. Just as your foot touched the first step, his deep voice stopped you. "Ryan," he called, "may I ask you something?" You froze in place, your back still facing him. Without turning, you replied, "What is it?" There was a brief pause before he asked, his tone more serious than you would expected. "Don't you have feelings for me?" His words hit you like a sudden gust of wind, stealing your breath, but you clenched your fists, forcing yourself to remain calm. Slowly you turned your head just enough for your voice to carry. "No, I don't." The lie rolled off your tongue, but it stung. You had to bury the truth deep inside to protect yourself. "I felt wrong to have feelings for someone who doesn't feel the same for me," you added, your voice steady, though your heart was trembling. Jungkook's gaze didn't waver. He seemed to steady you as if searching for cracks in the wall you would build together around yourself. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice softer now, almost as if he wanted to believe otherwise. You nodded curtly. "Yes, I'm sure." With that, you quickly turned and ascended the stairs, your heart pounding as you left him standing there. A quiet night. Once in your room, you locked the door and leaned against it, letting out a shaky breath. The weight of your words pressed heavily on your chest. You dragged yourself to the bed and sat down, burying your face. Tears welled in your eyes as you replayed the scene in your head. It was a lie, and you knew it. You had feelings for Jungkook, feelings you would harbored for years, but you would decided long ago to lock them away to protect yourself from 3 years ago, when you would confess to him his words had crushed you. "Forget about me." That single sentence had shattered your hopes. Since then, you made it your mission to erase him from your heart, avoiding him as much as possible. But now, with him back in your life, standing just downstairs, the walls you would build felt shaky. The next morning, the sun streamed through your window, but you would barely slept. After tossing and turning all night, you finally dragged yourself out of bed, determined to keep your distance from Jungkook. When you walked downstairs, you found him already awake, sitting at the dining table with a cup of coffee. His sharp jawline, messy hair, and casual yet confident demeanor made it impossible not to glance at him. But you quickly looked away, focusing on grabbing your bag and preparing to leave for work. "Good morning," Jungkook greeted, his voice calm but carrying a hint of something you couldn't place. morning, you replied curtly, not meeting his gaze. As you slipped on your shoes, Jungkook approached. Wine, I will drop you off near your hospital. You stiffened, not looking up. I have already asked my driver to drop me off today. You can take your car, you said flatly. Jungkook didn't respond immediately, but you could feel his eyes on you. Finally, he muttered, I see. Without waiting for his reaction, you grabbed your bag and headed out, leaving him standing there. 2 days had passed since Jungkook arrived, and in that time he had tried every way imaginable to talk to you. He knocked on your door, waited in the kitchen, hoping you would pass by, and even casually sat in the living room in case you decided to speak, but each time you avoided him. By the third evening, you found yourself curled up onto the living room couch, engrossed in a book. The house was quiet except for the faint ticking of the clock on the wall. For a moment, it felt like you could breathe without the weight of Jungkook's presence. Suddenly, the sound of the front door bursting open startled you. Your eyes darted up to see two of Jungkook's guards supporting him, one on each shoulder. His white shirt was soaked in red and his face was pale. Jungkook, you gasped, your book falling to the floor as panic coursed through you. We need help, one of the guards said urgently. His stomach, he hurt it with a glass piece. He injured himself to get your attention as you were ignoring him. You instinctively took a step forward, your heart racing, but you stopped yourself midway. You clenched your fist, forcing yourself to remain calm. Take him to the hospital, you said firmly, though your voice trembled. He will get the best care there. No, Jungkook's voice was weak but resolute. He gasped for air, his face showing pain as he looked directly at you. I don't want a hospital, I want you. You blinked in surprise, your breath hitching. Jungkook, don't be stubborn. There are senior doctors, there will be full facilities. I'm not equipped to. I said no, Jungkook interrupted, his tone more forceful. He winced, clutching his wound, but kept his gaze locked on you. I want only you to treat me. Your hands trembled as you took a deep breath, torn between anger at his stubbornness and fear for his condition. Fine, you muttered. After a moment, your voice died. Bring him to the first aid room. Taehyung made his room ready for you because he thought it would be helpful for you to practice. Your doctor friends and you used to research many things here, and you guys see it as your mini hospital or clinic. Being a rich businessman, it was not a big task for your brother to build it. In the first aid room, the guards gently placed Jungkook on the bed. In your first aid room, a space you rarely used, you gathered supplies quickly, your mind racing as you tried to focus. But the sight of him lying there, his blood staining the bed, made your chest tighten. As you began cleaning the wound, Jungkook hissed in pain, but didn't take his eyes off of you. You worked silently, your fingers shaking as you tried to control your emotions. One, Jungkook said softly, his voice breaking through the tense air. What? You asked without looking at him, your tone sharper than intended. Why are you crying? I'm not crying, you snapped, though your voice wavered. Jungkook raised his hand, his fingers brushing the corner of your eye. When he pulled it back, there was a single tear glistening on his fingertip. He held it up for you to see. Then, what's this? You froze, your throat tightening. It's nothing, you whispered, turning back to your task. But Jungkook wasn't having it. I know why you're crying, he said, his tone gentle but firm. You're crying because you love me. His words made you pause. Your hand hovered over his wound as you stared down at him, your heart thundering in your chest. You're mistaken, you said quietly, returning to cleaning his wound. No, I'm not, Jungkook replied. His voice was softer now, filled with something you couldn't quite place, regret perhaps, or hope. I know you well, and I know what I see in your eyes. You remained silent, focusing on wrapping a clean bandage around his torso, but your hands were trembling, betraying the storm inside you. I'm sorry, Jungkook said, suddenly, his voice breaking. You looked at him, startled by the sincerity in his eyes. I'm sorry for rejecting you, he continued, his gaze never leaving yours. I was a fool. I didn't realize how much you meant to me until you started ignoring me. It hurt, Wine. It hurt more than I thought. You swallowed hard, your chest tightening. Then, why didn't you say anything before? You asked, your voice barely above a whisper. Jungkook sighed, his expression filled with guilt. Because I didn't want to hold you back, he admitted. I thought my love might distract you from your career. You have worked so hard to get where you are, and I didn't want to the reason you lost focus. Your eyes widened in surprise. You hadn't expected that. I thought I would wait. Jungkook continued. Wait until you got settled, until you would achieved everything you wanted. Then I would tell you how I feel. He paused, his voice thick with emotion, but I was wrong. I should have told you sooner. I should have fought for you. Tears streamed down your face now, and you didn't bother wiping them away. His words cracked open the walls you would spend years building. Trust me, Van, Jungkook said, his voice steady, despite the pain he was clearly in. I swear on my friendship with Taehyung, what I'm saying is true. I love you. You let out a shaky breath, the weight of his confession washing over you. For so long, you would carry the burden of your unrequited feelings, suffocating under the weight of them. But now, hearing his words, it was as if a light had broken through the darkness. A small, tearful smile appeared across your face. You are such an idiot, you whispered. Jungkook's lips curved into a weak smile. I know. Without thinking, you leaned forward and wrapped your arms around him, carefully not to press against his wound. His arms came up to hold you gently, and you felt his warmth envelop you. I'm sorry, Van, he murmured into your hair. I hurt you, but I never meant to. I promise. I will make it up to you. You better, you replied, your voice muffled against his chest. Jungkook chuckled softly, the sound warming your heart. I will. I'll spend the rest of my life proving it to you. You pulled back slightly to look at him, your eyes meeting his. I have waited so long to hear you say that, you admitted. Then I won't make you wait any longer, Jungkook said, brushing a strand of hair from your face. I love you, Van, more than anything. A fresh wave of tears filled your eyes, but this time they were tears of relief and happiness. You leaned in, pressing a gentle kiss to his forehead. I love you too, Jungkook, you whispered, and for the first time in years, your heart felt light, free from the weight of unspoken feelings and unresolved pain. Thank you for watching.